What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with another quick video, and in case you can't tell, I am driving on my way to work, but I thought I'd take a little bit of time and walk you through my thoughts of Dishonored: Death of the Outsider. Now, there might be some spoilers in this quick review of the game, but I don't think I'm giving anything away that you don't already know or can't already deduce if you are a fan of Dishonored. And the reason I say that is because you know in all Dishonored games, there is always a non-lethal course of action. So yes, you can kill people, but you can also spare them too, or humiliate them, or do something in another way that doesn't actually end their life. So with that in mind, we'll get into it a little bit. And I want to tell you guys that I'm kind of sad because this is it for the Corvo and Dunwall and Karnaca saga with the Outsider. Daud and Billie Lurk, all those guys that we've really kind of gotten to know very well from Dishonored 1, Dishonored 2, all the DLC, it wraps up here. You don't have to have any knowledge of anything to play Death of the Outsider as a complete stand-alone adventure. That said, you're really not going to appreciate Billie Lurk's character or her decisions or her passion for Daud without playing the other games. So I highly recommend that you do play it. I'm surprised they didn't just release it as a Dishonored 2 DLC, honestly. The fact that they bundled it on its own, I think, hurts it. And I think it hurts it because they had to make the game somewhat general to appeal to a larger audience. And I feel like some of those really deep moments of lore and really deep character creation arcs had to be ignored because they had to write it, they being Bethesda, had to write it in such a, well, Arcane Studios, had to write it in such a way that anybody could pick it up and play it. It is a pretty short adventure in terms of Dishonored. I think it took me about 9 hours to beat. I played completely non-lethal, completely stealth, no detection, ghost on every level. It wasn't hard to do, and I think that's my biggest problem with it, was the game was very linear, almost very run-and-gun-ish, particularly on the last level. It was so much easier to just use your void ability to steal somebody's face and just run through the map at Mach speed than it was to try to stop and navigate things. And the real collectible here being bone charms that allow you to augment your abilities in different ways didn't really come into play for me much at all. I got one very early on that let me walk faster when I wasn't in combat. Well, as a ghost, I'm never in combat, so that worked out pretty well. There's another bone charm that let me move faster in stealth, again, really good. And then I had one where when I used some of my void abilities, my energy depleted a little bit less. So once I kind of got into that mode of those 3 bone charms, I really didn't need anything else. And I think that's what's kind of like, oh, that kind of stinks, because I didn't really feel inclined to explore the world. A lot of the contracts that you take in this, which are optional objectives you can do as you are completing your main objective, require you to murder somebody. And again, as a non-lethal playthrough, I didn't get to do any of those or want to do any of those. All they do is give you gold, which augments your abilities for combat. So it's kind of a self-feeding system in the sense that, you know, if you find yourself in combat a lot and you want to use a lot of weapons and you're going to kill things, then you're probably going to play significantly differently than I did, because for me, it was all about just kind of stealth and kind of getting through the world as a ghost and having a lot of fun doing that. And I enjoyed it. I have since gone back and started Dishonored 2 with the stealth playthrough, but I find that to be, the level design to be a lot richer. Overall, I have to say Death of the Outsider was a good finale for the game. It does answer some questions of who and what and why the Outsider has been doing what they've been doing. There is some closure on that arc. Regardless if you choose the good or bad ending, high or low chaos is irrelevant for the canon that, you know, does pave the way for future adventures, not with Emily or Corvo or Daud, but with other characters who may be touched by the Outsider and be given the Outsider's mark. So, good for you, Bethesda. You know, you took a game that never really had a ton of traction in any of the Dishonoreds, although I loved it. I've ranted and raved about it since the beginning. I'm dying to play Prey. That's what I'm diving into next, another Arcane Studio adventure. And good on you guys for sticking your guns and making some good single-player content that really does have a rich, story and an engrossing world that makes you really want to go out and play it. So, good job. I highly recommend this. It is called Death of the Outsider. And if you haven't played it on Xbox One, I think that's the preferred system. I've heard PlayStation 4 still has some graphical hitches, but game looked and played amazing. I loved it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Get out there and explore the world of Karnaca. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.